Hey guys, hope you're having a great day today. In today's video, it's going to be all about how to give individual attention to your children. And this is probably geared more towards large families, but you can definitely use it in a smaller family if you just have a busy lifestyle. And so, as a mom, you want to be the super mom and you want to be able to do everything and be able to have the home run efficiently and be able to take care of the needs of your husband and also take care and spend time with each and every one of your children every single day so that you can pour into their heart, make sure that they feel loved and do all these things, but by the end of the day, you're just exhausted. So how can you do that? How can you make sure that you spend some individual time and pouring into your children's lives? So sometimes it can be tricky. I mean, especially if your husband is working. I know in our home, my husband has worked a lot and his drive has been further than it is now. And so he spends a lot of time driving to and from work. And so by the end of the day, he's pretty tired too. And there's not a lot of hours in the day. So as the mom, how can you do that? I mean, great if you could hire somebody to come over and watch the kids so you can go do something, but that's not always an option in life. And I know it was never an option in my life, so I had to think and be creative in my way. So that's what I'm going to share with you today. One way that we did this in our family is we started scheduling out our days. We scheduled out time in our days. And so what I would do is, if I was doing everything, I would schedule out a half hour into my older children's schedules as well. I mean, they're older, meaning they weren't out of the home, they were still at home doing school, things like that. So I would make sure that I would schedule half-hour time slots into their days. It gave me a little bit of a break, and it also taught them how to interact with younger children, how to be able to do certain activities with them, and also how to create bonds with their siblings. And so we just did different scheduling times throughout the day, depending on when their school was and how they did things. And so this is from my book, Large Family Mother, and you can look in the link is in the description below, but if you cannot purchase it, and I'm totally fine with that, watch these videos and I will cover everything in this book over this period of time. So I went through, and this was a sample scheduling of what my daughter Lauren schedules like this. She's 20 now and she hasn't been homeschooled for quite some time, but this is what one of her schedules would have been at one time when I wrote this book. And so this was on her Mondays. During nap time, her and Jaden would work on a sewing project. This allowed Jaden to learn a new skill that I was not able to take the time and do. Plus, it gave Lauren a chance to work on her projects as well. So every Monday, she would do that with Jaden. Tuesday, she would help with Autumn's kindergarten work with her. It freed up time with me so that I could do something else, and that was pouring into her sister Autumn. So Wednesday, her and Brooklyn would bake something. This helped me out, and it also helped her to bond with her sister. Thursday, she would take the two little boys outside to play. Boys need to be outside and play and burn off some energy, so she would do that for me on Thursday. And Friday, her and Evan would play a board game together. So this was only scheduled for a half hour each day. If she wanted to do longer, she could. This just gave her a chance to spend some time bonding with her sibling, and something that it also helped me free up my time. So we sometimes schedule this different times during the day from like 10 until noon. And so we rotated different children playing with each other in half-hour time frames. And this worked well for the winter months, especially when we were stuck inside and we would much rather just sit, read books, or be on some interactive device at this time. This also made our day go much quicker. The playtimes wasn't careless, it was intentional. It wasn't like, what are we gonna do, or let's just do this. And, there were certain age groups that they could play together. I even scheduled the baby to be with some of the older children. And so I have many pictures of my older ones reading books to their little siblings. This was something I wanted to do each day, but I did not have the time to do it. And so I'm so thankful, because I was so busy with kids, that it was able to get done in such a meaningful way. And Autumn still remembers Ashlyn sitting reading stories to her as a toddler. And so it's just something that you can do to make sure that everything gets done, poured into that child's life, and it gets accomplished just through the help of the people in the home. Now, for sometimes it's hard to figure out what is it, to do with younger children, because they're like, oh, we'll just play with toys. Oh, we'll just do this. But especially if you're a preteen boy, it's like, what do you do with your sibling? I don't know what they do. So I would keep a list of activities. I had a little piece of paper and I put it in a plastic sleeve and I hung it on the wall. So I said, these are the activities that you can play when you play with this age group this day. And so this was some things that we didn't do all the time, so it was special, and then it made it like a fun time that they look forward to do. So on my list, I had Play-Doh, puzzles, paper cutting and gluing, blocks, Go Fish, Candyland, or paint with the water books. And so this was something fun they didn't get to do all the time because there were so many kids and it would make a big mess, but it was something fun they could do with their older sibling. And so that was one idea that we had. I also scheduled for myself time with the children. So this might be so that mom can play dollhouse with one of the girls, or that I sat and did Play-Doh with a toddler. It was things that I didn't get to do often because I was so busy, but if I scheduled it and I knew it was on my list, it would get accomplished. and I'd often schedule a kitchen helper me for the day, different days. This allowed specific child to help me with the work involved that I was doing for the food that day. This was before my freezer cooking, because I did some freezer cooking, but not as much as I do now. So that child, they would get up and they would help me crack the eggs. They would mix the batter. They would help serve the dinner. This allowed more one-on-one time with mom. Plus, I was already doing that job, but by adding one more helper, I spent individual quality time with them. When I had them playing, I would have them play in different parts of the home so that it wasn't distraction for each other. The preschooler was not allowed to interrupt the toddler, and the older boy playing with blocks. They were scheduled to do something else, but I had to keep my eye on some of them, especially those stronger-willed children. I kept them near where I was working just so I can keep my eye out, just because trouble could arise sometimes. Now, as my younger ones are older now, I can divide up that time that the older children spend with them as well. So now they enjoy playing things like board games as a group. They go outside to play catch or play red light, green light. My boys love it when their older brother Evan plays video games with them, or he builds Lego creations. It's like they're so excited to be able to do things like that with him, because I'm not a Lego builder, but he is a much better Lego builder than I am, and so he can build creations, and they are just amazed and awed that he can do such great things. So, and it takes half hour of their day. I mean, it's a half hour. We are here. I always tell my kids, I'm like, we have like 9 hours in our day, 6 hours that we're not really doing anything. So we can schedule this out. It keeps them busy, gives them something to do, it frees up your time, and then everybody's played with and done something constructively and intentionally. So usually my little kids, for the longest time, we would do this a lot through the winter months, and when we were stuck inside in the summer months, we'd go to the parks, things like that. But they still say, well, who gets me today? And who gets to play with me today? And that was something they really looked forward to doing. And so if you haven't implemented this before in your large family, expect your older ones to grumble and complain a little bit. I had the eye rolls, the staring at the clock in hopes that their times would fly by, and a couple of verbal complaints in the beginning. But I just kept it positive, and I said, wow, you really did a good job playing with Steven today. He really looks forward to spending that time with you. You know, build them up. Use those encouraging words. I know at first it was like, I got to do what with the baby, or I got to do what? But I'm like, you know what? Afterwards I go and I said, your brothers had so much fun with you. They really enjoyed that time that you took with them. And I'm like, thank you for doing that. And they're like, really? Really? They really enjoyed that? And I said, yes, they do, because they look forward to that kind of part. Let them know they're doing something that's making a lasting impression upon their younger siblings. Be consistent. Continue doing it every day. Don't let your children feel that just because they grew up in a large family that life is burdensome or that they always have to take care of a sibling. Teach them to build relationships, grow bonds of friendship among each other, and to instill good character traits among one another. We are training up our children to have compassion for one another. We want them to, when they see a need, that they fill that need, and then they learn how to interact with little ones. We are not having children so that they can take the brunt work of the home that God has placed on us as moms. We don't have them so that we can be comfortable and that we can have more me time. We are building bonds within the family structure, and so I know that happens a lot. It does. I hate to say that it does happen a lot, and I don't want to say that, but I do see it happening a lot in large families where the moms will have a lot of children, and I have nothing wrong with children helping in the family. I think that's an important thing to do. I really do think, like, I know when I would go out with all my little ones, we didn't get to go out unless my older ones helped me when we would go to a gathering or something, because there were so many. It was just a dangerous situation to do that. But I'm talking about consistently where the mom is off doing something else and the older children are watching the little one. And so that's not fair. That's not fair. That's not why you had children. You had children so that you can take care of them. And the children are to pitch in and help because they're part of that household structure, and they can do those kind of things. So moms, just remember, you can do this. You just have to schedule out your day, schedule time frames. So sit down with that schedule, write it out on a piece of paper, like a notebook paper, and schedule out your entire day. I know it sounds crazy and hard sometimes, and I think, just overwhelming. I could never stick to a schedule. But if you had some sort of plan, at least you can kind of hit it. I know, like, if I would schedule my day out from 7 until 9 at night, it could get real full and I might miss a whole lot. But if I just go, okay, at 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock, that's going to be my important time that we do these activities with the kids and keep on it. And so I make sure that I do it. If everything else falls apart, that's okay. But as long as I zone in on those things. So I hope you enjoyed this little video about how you can spend individual time with each and every one of your children in a large family or any size family. Because even if you have a small family, you could do this as well, because moms can be busy, they can be working, they can doing things. But if you say, okay, every day at 5 o'clock, or every day at 5:30, or every day at 6 o'clock, that's our time to read, or that's our time to do this, then your children will look very much forward to that, spending that time with you. So, okay, I hope you have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.